Governor Walt Patrick putting the finishing touches on his State of the Commonwealth address tonight. Patrick initially planned to give that speech last week. Of course, we had that storm roll through, so postponed it to tonight. Said he plans to detail proposals to change the unemployment insurance system and raise the minimum wage. He'll give that speech 7:30 tonight. It'll be the final state address for Patrick, who is not seeking re-election. Also tonight, 1-2 punch president going to give his State of the Union and a divided Congress and all that in the address tonight. As officials say, the president will urge Congress to fix immigration and raise the minimum wage. Expect to sign an executive order, raise the minimum wage for new federal contractors to $10.10 an hour. Just one of the things he can do without Congress'
Success in Washington of a president of any party should not be measured alone by how many bills Congress passes.
But tomorrow, the president heads to 4 states, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Tennessee, to talk about jobs and manufacturing. Steve?
All right, Eric, now from what we can expect from Governor Walt Patrick's State of the Commonwealth and the President's State of the Union, let's bring in 2 analysts from Massachusetts Young Republicans. Jeff Simone, former United States congressional candidate, and Democratic political analyst George Becker. Thanks for both of you being here. Jeff, let's start from you. Governor Patrick, they would say, a bit of a lame duck. What's the point of a final State of the Commonwealth?
Well, it's always important to go over what you've accomplished and what you'd like to do in the remaining year for his term. I think it's a little bit coincidental that it's the night of the State of the Union. He could have picked any night that he wanted to after the snowstorm, but he picked tonight. And maybe he wants something to overshadow this speech. Perhaps he wants national issues to take the forefront because he's had quite a lot of scandals going on.
Is it possible that the governor would want to bury his own speech?
I haven't yet found a politician that wants to bury his own speech. I don't think that really happens in politics. I think the governor, frankly, the governor and the president have the same challenge, which is to demonstrate their relevancy. This governor is going into his last year. I think both will. I think this governor will talk a lot about childhood education, pre-K in particular. He'll talk a lot about things like pension reform. I think he'll talk a lot about minimum wage. But his challenge is to demonstrate in his last year he's still in the game, and we'll see.
The GOP came out and said, you know what, you got to do something about DCF. Let's get big on that.
The governor came out with a very weak response, quite frankly, yesterday. Republicans and most independents are law and order people. We want to see things work properly. And when something as hideous as a scandal at DCF happens, quite frankly, it upsets most people in the Commonwealth.
What does someone like Baker do on the sidelines during a speech like this?
I think Charlie is smart enough to know exactly what to say to the people of Massachusetts and not pick a partisan fight, because this isn't a partisan issue for the DCF, but it depends what the governor says and, more importantly, what he doesn't say tonight.
George, on the national stage, the president always has an opportunity to set the agenda in the State of the Union. This is the off year. This is when the Democrats tend to lose seats in the House, for example.
I think it's taken the president a long time to understand how dysfunctional Congress is. He's made repeated overtures at bipartisanship reaching across the aisle. Nothing has worked. Nothing has worked. Mitch McConnell said his only objective in the first term was to beat this president. So what you're going to see is the president talking about executive orders, what he can do on his own.
Unconstitutional executive orders. I mean, it is actually, George is right on one level, it is emblematic of a dysfunctional government. We have divided government, and when you have that, you have to make deals. And this president doesn't want to make deals. He doesn't have to if he doesn't want to, but he should. The
only group less popular than the president, who got about 44% approval rating, is Congress itself. The people is going to be trying to persuade. Who stands the most to gain? What do you guys prognosticate in terms of the midterm elections here? Six seats in the Senate will give the Republicans a majority.
Absolutely. I think you can expect the president to tee up 2014 campaign talking points. You're going to hear things like income inequality quite a bit, things that distract from what has been going on in his administration. And again, just like Governor Patrick's speech tonight, I think it's going to be more notable for what isn't in it. Less mentions of the Affordable Care Act, less mentions of his legislative accomplishments.
Look, this president is going to talk about things that can be accomplished, like immigration reform and making sure health care reaches everybody. This is the first Congress that has taken national legislation and decided that they're going to roll it back as opposed to perfect it. This president's going to perfect it.
George Backrack, Jeff Simone, thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate you being here. There will be some very special guests heading to Washington at this hour to take in tonight's State of the Union address. Our Leslie Geddes has more from Logan Airport.